Let's dive into a transformation that is, well, frankly, it's terrifying. We're going to talk about how ancient, silent stone can be woken up and turned into a hostile, relentless force. This is the story of the Golems of Regret.
And it all kicks off with this one single, chilling observation from Agissa. These static monuments are marching. I mean, what happens when something that's supposed to be permanent and still just isn't anymore? That question really sets the stage for everything to come.
So, to really get a handle on the motion, we first have to understand the stillness. Our story starts in a place of just absolute quiet, the Temple of Silence. Okay, so picture this. Inside the temple, gargoyles are basically fused to the walls. They're called static monuments. And they're not just stone. They're covered in this stuff called petrified soot, like they've been locked in place, totally frozen for all of time.
But that eternity? Yeah, it's about to be completely shattered. A chaotic, almost unnatural energy is about to be unleashed in this dead silent place, and it's going to trigger one heck of an awakening.
So how does it happen? Well, the catalyst is this mysterious entity known as the Steinfeuermann. It lets loose what's very ominously called a final gift, and this gift is a pulse of blue forked lightning. This energy just surges through the temple, zapping the hollow gargoyles and kicking off a pretty terrible chain of events.
Now, this is a really crucial point. The gargoyles aren't being brought back to life. This is not a resurrection. The lightning gives them a false spark, animating the stone itself with a powerful, almost otherworldly force. And with that spark, poof, they stop being just gargoyles. They become something totally new, something defined by a dark and relentless purpose. They become the Golems of Regret.
And this slide just shows the contrast perfectly, right? On the left, you've got the before, a static, hollow monument, bound and still. And on the right, the after, a hostile agent that has literally shattered its own prison to become a vessel for this destructive thing called the hunger of the fire.
So, what exactly is a Golem of Regret? Well, think of it as a former statue that's animated by sheer, stubborn will, a lingering essence that just refuses to die. And now, that will is channeled into a new form that acts as a hostile force.
You know, this whole transformation is fundamentally metaphysical. That petrified suit that once held them prisoner, it cracks and just falls away. They're now fueled by the heat of the eye, this inner will that refuses to be put out, and their whole new purpose is to serve this destructive hunger of the fire.
So, they're animated, they're moving, but why? What's driving them? The answer is, well, it's simple, and it's absolutely terrifying. Their one and only motivation is revenge, and not against some specific person, but against all living things. They are basically rage, given a stone body.
So where does all this rage come from? It stems from a concept called the anti-that handling. You can think of it like a metaphysical poison, a spirit of denial that was injected into these monuments by the Steinfeuermann. Its entire purpose is to weaponize the world itself against our hero.
And this, right here, this leads to the most profound consequence of all. This awakening doesn't just create some new enemies, it completely rewrites the rules of the entire conflict. It creates a world of pure negation. To really get this shift, just think about how things were before. The conflict was pretty simple, right? One hero versus one villain, the Steinfeuermann. It was a singular, identifiable threat. A tough fight for sure, but a straightforward one.
But that single enemy has now multiplied into an entire concept, a hive of regret.
The fight is no longer against one being. The hero now has to confront the environment itself, a whole world of negation, where the very stones have become a hostile army. I mean, how do you even begin to fight that?
While the old ways of fighting, they just won't work anymore. The hero has to evolve. The lion archetype, the one that confronts its enemy head-on, is now totally obsolete. To survive this, the hero has to adopt the child archetype. Its strategy isn't confrontation, it's transcendence, reshaping the world around them.
And this quote just captures that new philosophy perfectly. You can't defeat an army of stone with brute force. You have to learn to see them differently. Not as an enemy you have to fight, but as sleeping sand, something you can just bypass, ignore, or fundamentally change.
And that leaves us with this final lingering question. See, the Golems of Regret aren't just monsters.
They're the physical manifestation of denial itself. So, how do you defeat an enemy that isn't a being you can strike down, but a belief that has poisoned the very world?